Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Rotor Talk Live, Season 8, Episode 33, DJI status in the USA, August 19, 2025. Hope everyone is doing well this evening. We have very special guest co-host tonight. We have Mr. Michael Wright, and we have right down here, Johnny Drone Flyer. So welcome, guys. Thanks for stopping by tonight. Hope you guys are both doing well.
Doing great. Glad to be here.
Absolutely, yeah.
Awesome.
Love being on.
Well, Ron's off for the evening, but we don't skip a beat here. Okay, we get the cream of the crop to come on Rotor Talk here. So just wanted to let you guys know that. So let's see who is here. I want to make sure that we get everybody. I know you guys have been coming here like super early now. Akarasho, Drone Shots, CT Pirate, Joe's here. Let's see who else. Let's see. RJ Redding, Lauren is here. East Coast Thrills, Art is here. Welcome, Art. Let's see who else. Okay, I think that's it for now. So, guys, I want to kind of start things off here a little bit with. I know both of you guys have the V-Copter Mini, and I know Johnny's had some pretty good success with it. Michael, why don't you give us an update and see where things are or with your V-Copter Mini?
I've had just the opposite. I couldn't even set up a program, okay? Much less, and then I get in the guest mode, like it did the exact same thing that Ron has with his drone. And basically the right prop would just jump, and that would be it. A little slight motion on the left prop. And I've been dealing with them I finally got a message from him 4 days ago. It said, okay, send us the video and send us the email that you registered under. Like they don't know, during the registration. I sent that 18 hours later, 24 hours later. I got information from them, said, great, appreciate it. We got everything. We're going to turn it over to the right department, and we apologize for the delay. We'll get right on it. That was 18 hours ago. I got another email this morning from them asking for the same exact thing they asked me for 4 days ago. Send me your email that you bought it under and do a video of why it won't fly, showing trying to take it off. And I said, guys, look at the email. It's in this post. Look at my record. I've sent it to you. So I repeated it again. I kept it, copied everything. So I'll hear from them again, not tomorrow morning. Usually it's about 3 o'clock in the morning. I'll get something from them probably on Friday. Thursday or Friday, probably Thursday morning, and let's see what happens. I'm about to go the route of Ron and tell them to send my money back. I already asked them to send me a new drone, and they ignored that. That was a week ago.
Well, it's really sounded a lot like FEMA customer service, which is non-existent. So, and I think they're taking a page out of that. I mean, wow, it's just, and really, we kind of Ron and I kind of talked a little bit about this last week. Because, it seems like, for example, with FEMA drones, they make them in good ones come in batches. Because when the FEMA Mini first came out, a lot of people, Marcus had a horrible experience with this. Mine, it was fine out of the box. There was no problem with it. Mm-hmm. But, he wanted to throw it in the trash can. I mean, it was horrible. And a lot of people have had that experience. Same thing, Johnny's had a good experience with his. And then you and Ron have had pretty much, I think, a lot of people have had the same thing from what I hear.
And Dennis Lovelady has the same problem. It's very similar problem.
Oh, my gosh.
Can't profile, can't register it, and won't fly. He's having problems.
Wow. Well, conversely,
at first I thought it was more of an app problem, but it's all you guys know how to activate a drone, so it's something that something is wrong with that batch for sure.
Yeah, I told him one of those emails. I said, "Look, I've been flying drones since 2013. I know how to fly a drone.
Right.
I know how to start it up."
Yeah, it's like you tell them, and it's just you really it's like you're typing on the keyboard and you're making sense to everybody but them. They don't. It's just wow. I've got
5 different case numbers in the last 14 days. From them.
Oh, God.
5 different case numbers. One of them lasted 5 days. Okay.
Wow. Wow.
I'm wondering if people with the Hover Air, the other ones, do they have any problems with that? Do they get the same kind of response from support? Or
I think that's a whole different. Different department.
It probably is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I haven't heard anybody complain about the Hover Air having any kind of problems, and they came out with a new update just last 48 hours.
Yeah.
On that?
Well, conversely speaking, and I wanted to put in a shameless plug. I've already done. I filmed it, and I just haven't put it together for the SkyRover X1. I did my unboxing setup in first flight. Conversely speaking, it was smooth as silk, and it was very reminiscent for me, like my Spectre Air and the Spectre Mini. The app looked very familiar in terms of as far as the Fly app is concerned. It looked a lot like what the Spectre app is, which is basically the same thing. The setup, it was a breeze. There was absolutely no problem getting it registered, getting online, getting the app, the whole 9 yards. One of the other things I wanted to mention, and I know, and we kind of talked about this a little bit before the show started, was, found out Marcus got the new RC Pro 2, and, that's a great thing. And it kind of led me to believe one thing is it was the first time that I've flown a drone, had to use a phone to fly a drone in several months. Okay. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, guys, and you can chime in on this, I like having that built-in screen. It's just, having to set up that phone is a real pain in the rear end. What do you guys?
Well, I agree with you. In fact, I got out my Phantom 4 V2 today. I'm going to fly it tomorrow. And I always have to use the iPad Mini with that one. I originally had the original Plus version, which had the screen. But I sold that, bought the basic controller for the Phantom 4 V2 because I wanted to do some mapping, and all the mapping was always iOS back in those days.
Okay.
And that's an Android machine is what DJI put out with the screen that they had with the Phantom, so.
Yeah, once you fly,
but I miss being able to just load up controller and you got it,
Yeah, flying with the screen is the way to go. And I mean, even flying the little V-copter, and what else I have a Fimi Mini 3, and man, it feels like you're taking a step backwards. Although, listen, the phone it's just so easy to grab that controller with that screen. It's a whole different mindset, and you got your phone free while you're flying, and you feel so much better too.
I'd like to be able to, if I ever get the V-copter run Mini working, I'd like to have an adapter that could use my Mini on it. And I don't know. I'm going to check with Rick Smith, see if he's going to come up with one. He may not, and it may not be enough profit in that one.
Well, I agree with you guys. It's just I'm so over using the phone. Well, I'm out there and I'm filming my B-roll, and I'm using my Samsung Galaxy Fold 3. It overheated and shut down on me. It was so hot. I mean, it's just, and here's the thing. It was 9 o'clock in the morning too.
Oh, wow.
When I did this. Yeah. I'm just like, wow. Okay. So
I've had it with my OS in Texas heat. Apple iPads and phones have shut down. Blank screen.
Oh yeah. Well, one of the first things I wanted to talk about tonight, and I just want to briefly touch on this, is our friend Greg Riverdew from Drone Pilot Institute, I believe is where he's from, put out an article, and apparently he read, or someone there read, the Part 108. And I just wanted to touch on this briefly, and just to let everybody know, this is really going to apply for commercial type pilots. Okay. Yeah. It's really not going to apply for hobbyists and what I'll call general quote unquote Part 107s. And it's over 600 pages. So good luck if you want to go ahead and read that. But this article really kind of summarizes things. And if you want to take a look at it, it's out on Bill of Drone Reviewer Facebook group and page. So feel free to do that. But I wanted to get you guys aware of this, because I know you've probably heard of it, but read the article for the information. It's really kind of reading. But I wanted to touch base on this to make sure you guys knew about this, and that really unless you work for a company, it's really not going to pertain to you as far as that's concerned. So I just wanted to get that out there and look for the differences. And the article goes into and explains all of that really well. I just didn't want to take the time to do that because it's just like it's there's a lot to it, and I didn't want to get started.
My only concern is I've read some of that, maybe not all of it, but is how is this going to affect 107 pilots though?
That's true. That's a good. That's a good.
You know, who takes precedence? You know.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Take precedence, you know.
Yeah, and I think it could maybe, you know, I know years ago they talked about taking a little airspace, or, you know, 200 feet or 3. And I mean, that's something that could possibly happen, but I don't think it will. But I mean, you know, of course, anything's possible. Hey, we didn't think we'd be able to not get a DJI drone, you know, a year ago or whatever. So it's a new world we live in every day in the drone world. I can tell you that.
It really is. Well, it seems like next thing we're going to talk about is the Hover Air Aqua. And it's real interesting what they're doing is they're doing, you know, and here we go again. Crowdfunding starts August 21st for this at 9 a.m. And I think, you know, it's quote unquote, it sounds good. Okay. Because everybody knows the mini V-copter sounded good, you know, and here we go again. And I wonder how many people are going to be gun shy after what just happened with the mini V-copter with the Hover Air Aqua. What do you guys think about that?
I can see that happening. In fact, is this going to be an Indiegogo Kickstarter as well?
I think so.
No? I haven't heard on that portion of it.
It says it's going to be on a crowdfunding platform. It didn't specify which one.
Okay. So,
I would say, but you know, Mike, the Indiegogo platform actually, I mean, and I know Mike, you know, they said they were going to send this in June, the V-copter, although I got it about 2 weeks later. I think that part of it was okay, but now it's just the quality control of it is. And sometimes I don't know if you're dealing with Indiegogo or you're dealing with Hover Air, you know, the support. So it's kind of like people are kind of like, I guess they're confused, and yeah, this could throw a monkey wrench in it.
Well, even for example, Hover Support asked you, where did you purchase this at? There was only one source.
There's only one source. Yeah, still not on that website, right? Yeah,
right.
I mean, it sounds promising, but you know, and as I talked about this with Ron as well too, this is a real niche kind of drone. Okay, the only people or the people that are this really is going to kind of be a good use case for would be people that do water sports, okay? Like maybe surfboarding, or you're riding a jet ski, or you're water skiing, or you're boating, or something like that. I mean, this is the only real kind of use case that I see for a drone like this. I mean, fine, it lands in water, but I mean, what are you going to do? Film the kids in the pool? I mean, you know, and land in the water? The use case for this is really seems like I'm trying to find something, and you know, I really kind of can't.
Very niche oriented. I agree.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people are going to pass on something like this, you know, for two reasons. One, you know, they're gun shy after what happened with the V-copter Mini, and also two, because it's so niche. It's really very specific, a very specific market. But I think it'll probably do well for those people that are interested in a drone like this, that do the water sports, that are in that market. I think it's going to be a good thing for them.
But it's a much smaller market.
Yeah, it really is. So
what do they need to do to survive? You know.
Yeah, you know, it's just going to be, you know, wow. Okay, it lands in water. Okay, all right. So you know, it's waterproof. That's a good thing. I mean, you know. Where's the use case for everyday people? It's not really there. So
what's the difference between that and the Swell Pro, for example? It's been doing landing water for 2 years. You know.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
and it's very successful for who use it. You know.
Yeah, exactly. And I know the Swell Pro. Do they do the ones where they drop a bait? Does Swell Pro do that, or is it another one?
I think Swell Pro does that. No, because you're not getting into water. Now, DJI drones, great. You know. Yeah. So I mean, you know, it's just like, you know, again, a real specific market, very targeted. Yeah.
I
don't know if you saw it building up the Swell Pro. They had it at the South Florida Drone Meetup. One guy, he did the demonstration on it. Johnny, you saw it probably, didn't he?
I didn't see
in and out of the water, crash into the water.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was the FPV drone that he does. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's
well,
not.
There's a GoPro.
No. He built. That's
all. That's individual. That was.
He coats everything, and you know that guy Nick. Yeah, Nick. He does a really good job of that. But yeah, and like you say, when you got a market like that, even though I think it's geared toward a younger crowd, but you know, I mean, I don't know if the drone is $1,200-$1,300 or $1,500 or $1,000. I mean, you know, what 15, 16, 17, 18, I don't know, maybe some young adults have some money for something like that. So it's definitely I see Lauren says, yeah, it's a one-trick pony type drone, you know.
Yeah, exactly. He's right about that. Now, this was a real interesting article out on Drone DJ or Drone XL today. Last chance, these DJI drones are the only ones you can still get on Amazon, and they put together, it looks like the Neo, the Flip, the Mini 2 SE, the Mini 4K, the Mini 3, and the Avata 2, and the Air 3 and the Air 3S are still out there. And then the SkyRover X1 are all still out there on Amazon. But, you know, as I've said, you know, as time goes on, these supplies are going to get depleted. And there'll be a point in time when even they won't have them anymore. And you'll have to probably go out to eBay and search for them and search for the sellers like Michael did with over in South Korea to be able to purchase drones anymore. I mean, it's just gotten to that point. Now, I know there's been some talk, and I wanted to, and we're going to kind of talk about this a little bit more when we talk about the Mini 5 Pro, but one of the reasons that the Mini 5 Pro launch was delayed, and I've heard this from a number of sources that I have, is that supposedly DJI was going to come to some kind of an agreement with the federal government regarding the customs issue and the forced labor with the Uyghurs and everything, and the DJI products were going to allow to be sold in the United, you know, be able to make it through customs to get into the United States. So that's why they're saying that's why the Mini 5 Pro was delayed, because it was supposed to be released like last week, but it's been delayed to September. I mean, that's what the talk is. So
I've heard the same rumor.
So hopeful. I mean, I hope it's true. If it's true, that's great. And like I've told people before, and I've been saying this ever since this crisis has kind of risen up, is get out there, you know, buy batteries, buy props, buy any kind of spare parts, accessories that you can get right now. Okay. Because we don't know when it hits December, what's really going to happen in essence here. All right. As far as the drone ban, we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a bit. But I want to tell people, you know, if you need time, the time is now to go out there and get spare batteries and spare props if you can. If they have DJI available out on Amazon or Adorama or B&H or whatever, DroneWorks or whatever place you choose to purchase them from, go out there and get them first. You know, if it's a DJI OEM. But if they don't, be careful with your aftermarket ones. Look at the reviews on them, because sometimes, you know, those batteries aren't going to last as long as like an OEM DJI kind of battery. So kind of be careful when you get out there. Just be very wary of things like that. And also too, I would avoid buying things like batteries and, you know, especially batteries out on like Facebook. Somebody says, yeah, I got 3 batteries for sale. A lot of times that ends up being, that's just a scam, and they're just trying to get your money and you won't get a thing. So I would stick with something that's a solid, you know, either eBay or something, you know, like Amazon to do something like that. That would just be.
I don't trust. I'm not used battery. I don't trust used batteries or third party. You know know how they're used. I mean,
absolutely.
That's the heart of the drone.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
That's why I always buy DJI batteries. You know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and that's why, you know, since day one, I've always have just purchased my, you know, OEM batteries and OEM props as well too, because I know, for example, when who's that, the prop company,
Master Air Screw.
Yeah,
Master Air Screws.
Okay. And I know, and this was back several years ago when I was on Bill Thomas's show. Okay, when they first came out for the original Mavic Air, because the original Mavic Air sounded like angry hornets. Okay, everybody that's been around drones for a while, we know that. Okay, and Master Screw came out, they put these props out there, and they were great. But one of the things people found out, the torque on it kind of messed with the torque on the motors, and things got a little off on things like that. And I think they've kind of corrected that, but I think a lot of people ended up being kind of gun shy from getting Master Screw props because of that incident. So just kind of like caveat emptor, buyer beware kind of a thing on something like that. As far as
Bill had a very similar situation. I flew with Kelly Shores down in with a meetup down there, and Chris Hope was there, and Kelly had just gotten in Master Air Screws for the Phantom 4, and we put them on my drone. It flew okay and all, but it took 20 minutes to get them off that drone. Chris ended up making a makeshift rubber band wrench eventually on all 4 props to get them off.
Oh, wow.
And Kelly said, "You want these?" He knew better than that. I said, "No way." So never again. That's the only time I've experienced Master Air Screws.
Yeah, that's that. When you start, when they quick release, they're great. But when you start with the little screws and using them, the little Phillips and all, man, I tell you what, you have to strip something out. That's for sure.
Yep.
Absolutely. Let's see what else we got here. Sean from Air Photography is one of my favorite reviewers out there, and one of the reasons I really like him, I mean, he's straight up. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. I mean, he tells you like it is. That's why I always will go out there and watch his reviews. And he did a real good one here on the Mini 4K, the best budget drone for 2025. And I have the Spectre Mini, which is really basically the same thing. And he's right. Okay, the value for the dollar with this kind of a drone is just way off the charts. I mean, for what you get for this kind of drone, it's incredible. In fact, my manager at work ended up getting one because he owns a rental property and it has a flat roof, and it's a 2-story, so he can't really climbing up a ladder is getting problematic because he's in his 60s as well too. So he asked what drone, and I instantly suggested this, and I went down there to help him fly for the first time, and I told him, I said, you need to be careful because there were a lot of power lines around his rental property and trees. And I said, you got to be real careful because there's no obstacle avoidance. You got to really be mindful of where you're flying and height and everything. And I kind of guided him through that, and he was able to do it. But I mean, it's a drone that will get the job done, and it works well. It's straightforward, and I like it. I like it a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think they had it for like $269 not a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, it was on sale. Now, what a lot of people have talked about the Spectre Mini is they've been out of stock for a while, and if I talked a little bit about SkyRover X1, and I got a video coming out on that probably within the next week or so. They're made in Malaysia too, and it's the same place that the Spectres are made. So chances are real good these are DJI companies that are doing this under another label, which was smart for them to do something like this. And the SkyRover, there's no problem being able to get them. Now, one of the things that I did find out, I did get some contact information for SkyRover, and they told me as of right now, the only way to get extra batteries is to buy the Fly More kit. Okay, they don't have individual batteries for sale yet, but they are working on that. And I saw, believe it or not, there's a placeholder out on Amazon for that. Okay, so they're getting ready. They're getting ready to do that. So that's kind of a good thing. So kind of stay tuned for that. I was just an initial impression with the SkyRover X1. I was impressed. Okay, it did everything like a Mini 4 Pro. It did really, really well. Not to kind of give you a little teaser for what's coming up here. So and then this article right here, and I'm going to go ahead and share this right now. It really kind of talks about the SkyRover X1 here. It said DJI Mini 4 Pro out of stock. This 3-battery twin is only $763, and the price is great on it. It comes with everything that you need. It has a little charging hub just like the Mini 4 Pro, it's right there too. Their Fly More combo. $763 is a really good deal for this drone. I absolutely cannot complain about it. The only thing I found, or I'm trying to look for, is I bought prop holders for the Mini 4 Pro, and it won't fit on the SkyRover X1. So I'm probably just going to get some Velcro and some long Velcro and probably wrap that around there to try to keep them at bay, because it's it gets real unwieldy, especially with the mini drones.
Well, Velcro will work. It'll solve the problem.
Yeah, absolutely. All in all, I was pretty impressed with it. It really does a great job. It was very easy to set up. The app was easy to set up. No issues with that whatsoever. Very straightforward. A lot like the Specta Mini and the Specta Air. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be coming up here. Now, one of the things that you guys probably saw it last week, Anti-Gravity had their quote unquote launch. Okay. And the first thing I want to say, I'm going to bring the article up here. There's an article on Drone there's an article on Drone DJ here about that. Is when typically, guys, when you hear Michael and Johnny chime in on this, when you hear the word launch, you're expecting to be able to buy that drone on that day. Am I correct? What do you guys think?
Exactly.
Yeah, that was very strange. I still can't really figure it out. What did they do besides maybe jump the gun on? I don't know. It's very weird, I know we were hard on them, that's for sure.
Came out with theirs.
We were
8 months away before the Action published it.
Yeah. Johnny and I were on with Ron and Marcus, and it was the most backwards kind of launch, and it really reminded me, and we kind of talked about this, was that infamous botched launch, the Hubsan Mini, where everything went wrong with that drone. It ended up crashing live and it was just a total disaster on that. I kind of got the feeling from this as well too, that it really was just kind of botched, because we don't know. There's no pricing on it. There's no specs on it. There's no release date on it, and there's no nobody knows if it's going to be available in the United States, because it is made in Shenzhen. All right, I did find that out this week. And then all the influencers that got them to test, they were invited to looked like a mini go-kart track to go out there and test them. They weren't actually given the physical drones. And then we ended up finding out the reason that they didn't say any of the specs was all of these were prototypes. There weren't even the final versions out there to be able to test. And then on top, and then the news just kept coming out is it only had, it's only goggles, and it's only the motion controller for the goggles. And then you find out that, okay, it's not going to be like normal goggles where if you turn your head, the drone's going to turn. That doesn't do that. All right. And, it really was just one of the things that I remember reading in a press release, like right before the launch they said that the Anti-Gravity is going to be the drone that it's going to be easy for everyone to fly and own. Okay. And from everything I saw, from all the videos, and I watched a lot of them out there, it looked anything but easy to be able to do that. And then you're going to have to run things through that Insta360 app, if that's what the case is, to be able to render that film and use it, use it for B-roll or whatever you want to use it for on Final Cut Pro or DaVinci Resolve or Adobe, whatever you're going to do with that. What do you guys think?
Yeah, Bill. Yeah, we did that morning launch at a show. And now looking back a little bit, and of course we learned a little bit more. It does look interesting, but it's not personally for me. But it's kind of strange that they here it is September, and they talk about maybe January. Which by the time January comes around, I think people forget about the drone, especially if a Mini 5 comes out. DJI had a little, there was. Possibly some kind of 360 DJI may be building. So yeah, I still don't understand the release and really what it was about. But for some reason they jumped the gun showed it, and some people have it, but the drone is not complete. You know, if it says January, that might mean March or April. So I don't know. It was very strange.
It was very disappointing, and when it is released, it's not going to be the same drone that they show now at all. What they're saying, you know.
Yeah.
Well, you find out some more things. You know, the people didn't know is, you know, the Insta360. It's just the camera. Okay, it's not the actual drone itself. You know, and a lot of people are thinking, oh, it's Insta360. No. It's like, no. You need to quantify that, and it did get quantified. And then you brought up a great point about it coming out in January, and it's August right now. And you know, my memory will last. I mean, I still have all. I like to think I still have all my faculties. Okay, at 67. All right, I'm kind of pushing it, but I think they're still there. But by the time January rolls around, I'm not going to remember this, or if I do, I'm going to have to go back and refresh myself on this. And, you know, why did you go through all this marketing effort, this hype, inviting content creators there to demo this and test this out when it's not even going to be ready until January, and you can't even take a deposit on it right now?
Yeah, I think it's geared toward a younger, I say just a younger generation myself, but you know, but it is, on the flip side, having another company build a drone is a step, I guess, in the right direction. I mean, we'll see. You know, if they build that, they can build a camera type drone. So who knows? You know what direction we're headed. So it could be something good in the long run.
But then again, it's a Chinese company. It's a startup company.
I think it's just DJI, and I don't think it's going to be all Chinese drones. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, I know, because like Bill was saying, people call it the Insta360 drone. It isn't. They're just backers in it, you know, and just using the camera system. That's it. Right. And their software for the editing, you know.
Yeah, and
you're right. I expect them to come out with some camera drones eventually.
Yeah, anti-gravity is supposed to be, you know, I mean, it's you know, built right there in Shenzhen. So it's, I mean, it might be neighbors to DJI. There might be some kind of collab going on there. Who knows? You know,
yeah, well, they say that evidently Insta360 has no control over it. So, you know, why don't they come out with a anti-gravity drone with a Hasselblad camera?
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. I mean, you know, and you made a good point about, you know, having a company like this and doing something like this and giving DJI something to think about, because, you know, I've also heard that DJI has something in the works for a 360 drone. Okay. Yeah. That's why that they came out with their 360 camera, you know, for something like this. And then the other thing that I've heard, and I've read from several sources, they said the whole reason that anti-gravity Insta360 did all this was to circumvent the Mini 5 Pro, because we all know when the Mini 5 Pro comes out, it's going to garner a lot of attention.
Two totally different drones, though.
Well, I mean, there's like Marcus said, apples and apricots or watermelon.
Yeah, it is, and it doesn't make sense, because, you know, when you do something like what anti-gravity did, you know, it was trying to get the attention and the spotlight, which they got, and they got it for a couple of days or maybe a week or so, but then it's going to fade away. It's not going to be there until, you know, January, February, March, whenever they do decide to really release it and you be able to purchase it. It's not going to, people aren't going to remember this. All right. They're going to have to go back and do that. So why they went through all that motion and exercise, and I know it's a lot of money to do that. Okay. You know, a marketing campaign is not cheap. I mean, they spent a lot of money to get those content creators to come to that location. So, you know, I personally, I'm at a loss. I can't.
Yeah, I would have thought they'd probably done better with leaks from now until January. You know, I mean,
exactly. Yeah.
You know, DJI has gotten, and that's a great point, Johnny, because DJI has gotten real smart, and you know, they'll put these things out through Jevon. They'll put these things out through Jasper Ellens and in Igor, and you know, and it does a world of good for them. They get basically a lot of free advertising from these releases and these sneak peeks and these pictures that we get coming out here. Now, I do want to spend some time, and I do want to go over this, because this actually came out after Rotor Talk last week, and I did kind of throw this in on my video for the week, but I did want to go ahead and spend some time talking about what we know about the Mini 5 Pro, that there were some leaks that came out there. And this article was from Jasper, and it was dated last Wednesday. This article contained everything you'll need to know about the Mini 5 Pro. I actually think it's a good chance to become to be the one, and here are some reasons why. Okay, good look at the real thing. And these are some actual pictures of it, which I think is fantastic. And the first thing we find out, it has the same battery as the Mini 4 Pro and even the Mini 3 Pro, which is fantastic. So, the part of that ecosystem, that's great here. Now, sub 249 grams are confirmed. CO class sticker is spotted. The CO class sticker means DJI managed to get a LiDAR equipped 1-inch sensor camera drone beneath 250 grams. Let that sink in, as Elon Musk would say, which is absolutely fantastic. Now, crazy camera on a tiny, no training consumer drone. So what you might say is so special about a 1-inch camera. Well, previously, if you were in the market for a drone with a 1-inch camera, you had to buy the 595-gram Air 3S. The drone was released less than a year ago and has a C1 class rating for drones between 250 and 900 grams. The Mini 5 Pro CO class on a 1-inch, DJI avoids stricter hassle in their flight with drone regulations now and in the future. And it's especially meaningful, when to our neighbors up north like Lauren in Canada, and also our friends over in the UK and the EU. Okay, as far as that's concerned, ultralight and foldable 1-inch sensor up to 4K, 120 frames per second video, true vertical shooting, and 225-degree gimbal rotation. That's incredible. High quality 48 millimeter med tele mode, nightscape omnidirectional obstacle sensing with forward-facing LiDAR, active track for running, cycling, and more, 36-minute flight time. And there's a full-on picture of it. Why LiDAR in the Mini 5 Pro? Safety first. One of the biggest flaws in drone flights is the ability to crash it. People will hit their return to home button and it'll automatically fly back, avoiding power lines and such. This is why DJI has been equipping their drones to the brim with infrared and omnidirectional camera sensors to avoid that automatic crash, especially in the dark or badly lit conditions. But DJI managed to get rid of this problem with LiDAR on their drones. The Air 3S and the Mavic 4 are almost impossible to crash and are now even to return to home in their point inside buildings, all thanks to equipped LiDAR, which enables it to basically fly in pitch dark environments. These functions are now promised to come to the Mini 5 Pro. And then gimbal rotates up to a max of 330 degrees, which is fantastic. Unusual silent propellers in a new, and they have some new prop guards, which are really kind of bizarre there, but that's what they are. And they talked about a secret button here. And this is one thing I wanted to talk about. Talk about the Flip. Those who pay close attention might already notice the new button on the bottom of the Mini 5 Pro. Confirmed rumor has it the Mini 5 Pro will power on automatically when folded open, and the side button, you'll be able to automatically launch it without a controller, okay, which is absolutely incredible right here. And there's a picture of that. Now, the release date, they really don't know what the release date. It was supposed to be August 7th, but it's probably going to be sometime during the month of September. And, Jasper goes on personal take and expectations here. Guys, a 1-inch sensor on a sub 250-gram drone. I mean, it really doesn't get a whole lot better than that.
He talked about that for years. Yeah, we thought that was impossible for sure.
Yeah. And I already told Ron this last week, or maybe the week before. I said, you know what? You can sign me up already. I'll be, because I bookmarked that guy out on eBay that Michael used. And, I'm going to stand there with my card to take my money. Okay. Because this is going to be that kind of a drone. It's going to absolutely just fly off the shelves. No pun intended.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, if it's not available at, in the US from DJI, I'm ordering it the first day from eBay, from, South Korea or wherever, Japan. And hey, I'm not waiting on this one. I can tell you right now.
Oh yeah. I'm not either, Johnny. I'm going to jump on that. And
because, Bill, talk about prices. We don't know what it's going to be, but you can get a Mavic 4 Pro Creator Combo in a few places in the US, but I don't know where they're coming up with the prices. I mean, some of them are near 5,000, 5,500. You still can get them on eBay at a really decent price, because you back out the price of that controller. The drone is $2,300 $2,300. It's probably cheaper than a Mavic 3 Pro was, so prices really haven't went up,
Okay, well, Lauren's now saying I suspect it'll be released closer to November. Okay, wow, all right. Well, that's news. Thank you for that tidbit of information, Lauren. You can we can probably pour some water over our heads to cool us down right now, because I know a lot of us are really
Lauren. Kick him out of here. Kick him out of here. He's got bad news.
Lauren, I was told to kick you out because you're bringing bad news. I'm just having some fun here. That's all. But no, thank you always for your great information here. I mean, it's really going to stir up a lot of excitement, and I think if it ends up being DJI's swan song, that they end up at the end of the year here, we're having to say goodbye to DJI for a while. So be it. What a great note to go out on. But conversely, and I don't know, Johnny, if you saw Rick Smith's last two videos. Okay, he put out a couple of really good videos.
I did, absolutely, yeah.
Talked about the drone ban and everything.
Yep,
he's really of the opinion that he thinks this is going to get resolved, that they're going to come to some kind of resolution by the end of the year.
I don't know. I sometimes I get to thinking that, they're done. And then, now they're kind of saying that they're trying to work something out by September and all this. So, I mean, I don't think that they would be saying that, at least that they're not in some kind of talks or something. And look, I don't blame DJI for shipping drones. I mean, their drones are being stopped at customs. They're probably not getting some of them back. They're paying double shipping. So, I mean, it's easy to say, but I don't blame them. They were put in that position, and it's just what it is right now. So we got to work through it.
Yeah, exactly. It just, and I think what's real nice is we find a workaround through places like, South Korea. Not only South Korea, I know we've talked about that. Japan as well, because they don't have those tariffs on them. So we have a favorable trading status. One of the reasons, and I hate to bring this up, is why Japan, especially Japan and South Korea, have such a favorable trading status. Okay, here's a couple of things. All right, look at the companies that come out of South Korea and Japan. Okay, we all know Samsung's from South Korea. All right, and they're tied for the largest smartphone manufacturer in the world with Apple. I'm sure they're probably neck and neck. And then, in Japan, my gosh, think of Toyota, Sony, ad nauseum as far as, products are concerned. And we have favorable trading with them, which is good. And which means, those tariffs don't exist. I ended up ordering a micro PC, and it ends up, what's really nice is it's coming from China, actually, but the tariffs were built into the price, and I was really amazed at what the price ended up being. It was supposed to get here later this week, which I was pretty impressed, Johnny, as far as that's concerned. So, if you shop wisely and can pick some of these countries like South Korea or Japan to get products from, you're not going to end up paying an enormous tariff or, overpaying for that product,
Right. Yeah. Many, at first people were a little reluctant, but now a lot of people in the community has gotten the Mavic 4 Pro and bragging on it and save some money. And hey, do what's best for you personally. If you want to pay a lot more than what I don't say what the drone is worth. I mean, that's up to you. But if you can pay $3,600 and instead of $5,500, well, I don't know. Where I went to school, that's a whole lot more, So
yeah, that is a lot more. And Casey Crime Fighter, it's a great comment. We hope they come to a resolution, but we have politicians and corporations controlling this. Anything can happen. And you're right, Casey Crime Fighter. You are absolutely right. We don't know what's going to go on. We're hopeful. And I've said this before, and Ron and I have that. We've talked about it, and we've talked offline about this as well too. Is there's a lot of money at stake right here. And I'm just not talking about, these other corporations, supposedly like Amazon drone deliveries or Walmart or UPS or whoever here. Okay. Looking at DJI, all right, they don't publish their figures because they're a privately held company. They're not a publicly held company. But you got to know that there is a lot of money sitting on the table for them. All right. For them to stop imports in the United States, that's hurting them. All right. That, it was going to end up costing them some money to be able to do that. So they stopped it for now. So hopefully they can get that resolved. But you got to figure that they're going to have, whether it's a lobbyist or whomever, get some middle ground here. And I think what's going to happen, and this is just what Ron and I we've talked about it, is I think there's going to be some compromises, where, we'll still be able to purchase DJI products here in the United States, but there's going to be some caveats that go with things like that. For example, they may be, everything tagged with remote ID. That's on all the time, where everybody knows all the time where you're at, that kind of thing. I don't know. I'm just kind of spitballing here as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, who knows? It's so much up in the air right now, but I don't know. I don't know what to think. It's kind of like if we just said this a couple of years ago, I mean, that would never happen. But it's happening right now. We're in the midst of it, so just got to work through it and see what happens. I mean, I know a lot of people are hollering for drones built in the USA, but I mean, yeah, that sounds great, and yeah, I would be all behind it. But what would a mini drone cost in the US? I mean, it might cost $3,000, for something that you could get for $800. I don't know. I mean, I really don't know, but I kind of relate it. Mike, I know in Texas and all, we all talk about here, hey, buy Louisiana seafood or Gulf seafood. Well, it's they'll catch the shrimp here and they send them over to China and pack them up and send them back for like $4.99 a pound on sale on the little bags. But if you want a pound of Louisiana shrimp, it's going to cost you $15 to $17 a pound. I don't know. It's tough. American prices. I mean, it's great for the workers and all, but I think it would have to work along with the price also.
Well, Bill Gray's really encapsulated right here. Do what we do best and let other countries do what they do best, and everyone will benefit. And, Bill, thank you for that wonderful statement. There's a lot of wisdom in that. Thank you. Thank you for that. And I got to believe here that cooler heads are going to prevail with all this, where I said, that there is a lot of money out on the table as far as that's concerned. And, all the arguments that have been made, pro and con, especially pro. I mean, there's really no cons as far as, the drone community is concerned, and, what's been talked about has just been absolutely blown way out of proportion and has been shown that there is no real security concern. Okay. As I've jokingly said to Ron, I said, Ron, everybody's gonna see the top of Lucy, or with Marcus, I said, everybody's gonna know the dimensions of the Snake River Canyon. For me, everybody's gonna know what the clubhouse looks like at the HOA where I live. Okay, it's like, what national secrets are we giving away here? All right. And, it's so ludicrous. It's just off the charts. So I'm kind of hoping cooler heads will prevail with all this, and there'll probably be some compromises, but I think we'll end up okay. I have it in my, I can't explain it. It's just one of those things, those intuitions that I have. I think end up being okay. So,
but Bill, you're in the state of Florida, and the governor there, he banned DJI, and all those departments had them. They had to respend the money. So, okay, if DJI don't get banned, so are they going to give them the DJI drones and spend more money? So it's like, and it's a South Florida drone meetup. Mike, what did those two police officers? What that was what was that drone they had that they did the demo on?
Didn't they have was it Matrice?
No. They didn't have a DJI drone. It was like a Skydio, maybe.
It's a Skydio X10.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, once they got it flying, it was okay. But if they were trying to catch somebody, they were probably gone about 10 minutes before, because it took them 10 or 12 minutes to get it up in the air. But it's just kind of crazy that And I think what it is, if you're a young police officer, you join the department, you become part of the drone, program there in a department, and you never flew a DJI drone, and they hand you a Skydio, well, you're gonna think it's the best drone ever. But not knowing that, they made something probably 5 years ago that was a whole lot better than that drone is today.
Exactly.
So,
it's just ridiculous. Really, the way I look at it.
Yeah. I mean, we all know the Hearst tool and the fire department uses it. It saves people and it cuts people out of the cars. They use it, the jaws of life. And, what if a component is made in China? Are they going to ban, the best tool ever to save people and get them out of crash? It's just kind of crazy.
That's basically what they're doing. That's really what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Because they're number one. Yeah, because they're number one.
Yes, they are. Yeah.
It's just it's so ridiculous because if somebody dropped in the chat, which is very true, iPhones are made in China. I mean,
absolutely.
And now, the only thing I will say is Huawei is on the ban list. Okay. Huawei phones can't be sold in the United States with good reason because they actually were shown transmitting data back over to China. All right. It was proved. There was no question about this. And with this, it's just so political. It's just, it gives me a headache when I really kind of think about it. But for now, like I said, the best course that you can do right now is to continue to go out there, buy batteries, buy props, buy other accessories that are available while you can get them. All right. And keep doing that. And even other people have told me they bought backup drones. Like I know bought a backup Air 3S and somebody bought a backup Mini 4 Pro. All right. Which, there's a lot to be said. If you could do something like that, do it. If you can afford it. Absolutely. Just be prepared for anything that's going to happen. And, like I said, my gut is I think something's going to be worked out by the time December rolls around, but who knows? Guys, any closing thoughts here before we wrap things up?
Well, Bill, you're a lot more forward looking to me than I am about DJI situation. And even the Uyghur thing that went on 6 years ago. Why do they need to start enforcing it now?
Yeah. All I know.
It's nothing new.
Yeah, and if you're wearing a pair of Nike tennis shoes, they probably were built, made by somebody who doesn't make a whole lot of money. But no, hey, you know what? Like I said a couple of weeks ago, now a couple of months, hey, get out there and fly what you have and enjoy it. We got some great drones, and if you can't get your hands on another one, I mean, you know what? If you have something in your stash that you hadn't flown in a while, hey, take it out and fly it, and guess what? You'll be flying that drone for a few days, and you'll have fun and kind of just fall in love with the hobby again. I mean, I know we're all worried about the newest and best coming out, but man, we still got some great drones and out here in the community, and just watching the videos that everybody makes, it's a great community, and hey, just get out there and have fun.
Johnny kind of really nailed it right here.
He did.
The New England drone meetup's coming up here next month. Josh and John are involved with that, which is fantastic, and I'm glad people are doing that. I know Bob Dempsey is having his meetup in November, and then of course we all know Captain Ray's is coming up in April of 2026.
Minefield is this weekend, yeah.
And Minefield this weekend too.
This weekend. In fact, I'm going to Minefield and I'm going to Rhode Island.
Wow. See, well, that's a luxury of not having a 9-to-5 anymore, my friend.
Well, I wasn't going to Minefield. My wife said, "You enjoyed the company, the camaraderie with the guys. Just go." I wasn't going to go because I said I was going to go to Rhode Island. Ray asked me to share a room with him, so I said, "I'll do that." And
absolutely,
Wanda said, "Go ahead and go to Minefield too. You enjoy it. Just go." So I.
Absolutely. If you got the time and the resources to be able to do it, enjoy it. Go for it. Because it's not. There's nothing better to me. I mean, granted, I like flying drones when I'm at a meetup, but you know what? That's not the primary reason I go. I go there to see everybody, okay, and to talk to everybody. Yeah. I mean, it's just so good. It's just so much good. I mean, it really just wow. I can't tell you about that.
Yeah, when people ask me about it, they see my cap or whatever and tell me about it. And I'd say, where else can you go? You got a group here that people in there from ages I remember following Billy when he was 18 years old, till you turn around and you see, Dr. Ted, 81, best of friends,
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with it. H has nothing to do with it. Politics, we don't talk. You know,
one of the best moments in the drone
politics of friends, but they're friends.
One of the best moments in the drone community. I think we had Koopy on and Dr. Ted, and you know, they're probably 50 years age difference, and they're talking about the. I'm sorry, they're talking about the same hobby. You know, 50, and you know, most people is not going to talk about the same hobby at 50 years age difference. So you know what, it's a great community, and yeah, I know I'm going to Rhode Island. Captain Ray talked me into getting on a plane. I'm not crazy about airplanes, but
you know, where else can we go anywhere in the country and fly with friends?
I'm telling you, yeah,
exactly. And I got some secrets to tell you guys. Is if I was retired, I'd be joining you this weekend, okay? Or you know, for Rhode Island or Minefield or Vegas. But you know, for me, you know, my time's Sure. Our time off policy is all screwed up right now. It's just, especially for me, when I had my dental surgery, I ended up having to take most of the next week off. And that's just really kind of put the kibosh to anything, except in December, we're going up to Ohio to see the grandkids. I mean, we really want to get up there, see them, because it's been a year since we've seen them. So
yeah, I do that.
Kids are the greatest, you know.
Oh, absolutely. And Michael, I think you know right now, having a grandchild, you know, it's like I told my wife, I said, you know what, I wish we had grandchildren first, okay?
You know, well, you built a good client of mine, 2 years older than me. He passed away 2 years ago, but known 35 years. He always said, if you could just have the grandkids and skip the kids, it'd be the greatest thing ever.
That's why I can't go to Minefield, because Bailey turns 21. So I can't miss, you know, we kind of knew it would be this weekend, but well, I hope she's not listening. Yeah.
Well, guys, exactly. I want to thank Johnny and Michael for being on tonight. Thank you guys so much for coming in tonight. We had a great talk, a great discussion, great chat as always with everybody in the chat here. Thank you guys so much. And you know, just keep on keeping on doing what you're doing. Enjoy what you got. If you can get more, do it. And you know, be wise about you're doing it. But again, guys, thanks so much. And remember, it's a great day to fly. Take care. Have a great rest of your week, everybody.
Good night, everybody.